and the day after they have changed completely. So, yes.
It says to sprinkle the water.
Well, when we talk in here about water, you don't have to have water, but sometimes some people are moved by physical stimulus. But you can image it to the form of imagery. You can image it that you have water and sprinkle. I have a 3-year-old child who does this with me, and I read it and he follows it. And then when he gets just to the part with water, she goes this way. He understands, but he does it, and he doesn't need the water because he already understands that just sprinkling is sprinkling the water to the audience. It's what you have in your mind. I have a 3-year-old going 4 who does it. He holds one end of the page up and I hold the other, and I'm reading it. And then I'd ask him, who does he want to have it with? Well, I name all the people. He says, that one, this one. Maybe it's grandfather, grandmother, or aunt, or whoever it is. And so we do it. And when it's finished, he says, it's finished. So he goes ahead and plays. His own awareness has allowed him to do this. I think he's felt that this is a good way of resolving problems and dissension between families, between their family. But he's aware enough to know the effectiveness of this. See, the thing when you're creating this, doing it for yourself, cleansing divine, creative Father, Mother, Son as one. If I, Morrnah, Simeona, has offended you, now you're talking about the divine creative, in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, from the beginning of my creation to the present, humbly, I ask forgiveness on behalf, we ask forgiveness, and go all the way through to the end. Now, instead of saying, will you forgive us? All I say, forgive us, instead of will you, and then finish with the other. So we will have them printed for you, so it would be easier. So this is 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And you are doing 2 parts. You're handling part 1, and you're taking the part of part 2, and then part 2 goes up and does the first portion. So in other words, I'm asking forgiveness of you, and you in turn ask for me. That creates that round. See? It wouldn't do if I was to ask her for forgiveness and she didn't of me, because it still leaves that unfinished link. Yes.
Does this have anything to do with one's ability to manifest thought forms?
No.
No. So they can be very bright, very good.
The question arises, this has anything to do with thought form, well, I say thought forms aren't necessarily, but the ability. It doesn't have to, because of the fact that I was in Japan just recently, and someone asked, what does she do? So I read this portion. And they don't speak English, but they get the gist of it. So this person who is in a higher position in that particular sect goes out and gets these Xerox and comes back, is enthralled by what it stands for. And in other words, something was done for that person there, and it manifested the very next day. And it doesn't matter, as long as they know what the gist is.
No, I say it like you doing it. But let's say you just gave that to someone and they didn't know, and they didn't have much ability to manifest thought forms. Could they still do it?
They can still do it, no matter. Because actually you're programming your computer. And the other mind, the discriminating mind, is different. It programs off a lot of things. So your earlier part of cleansing kind of paves the way for the suggestions to get in. Mm-hmm.
Morrnah,
Yes.
does this have to be something, a problem, or could this be a morning ritual, a prayer, or that sort of thing?
The question arises, can this be a ritual like a daily prayer? Well, I would say yes. For myself, I do, because I meet so many people in my daily work, and even if I didn't, I have phone calls, or I know of people, I still do it as a regular ritual. But some people do it only when there is a problem.
And that's all right.
That's all right too, you know.
Wouldn't it be good to do it at night?
I beg your pardon?
Wouldn't it be good to do it at night and put your body in a state of grace? before the
It's
next
fine. I
morning?
think it's optional as far as the person is concerned. Whatever is comfortable for you. I do not believe in trying to make it a ritual. You know what I mean? Whatever you're accustomed to, you can put this, program it into your normal procedures. I don't like to say, now let's say 10 o'clock in the morning I must meditate. You know, you become so rigid rather than flexible. I prefer being flexible. Yes.
You first go into the silence, right? Before you do this.
It would be
In other
better.
words, this is a meditation.
It would be better.
Would be better.
But there are many times that we do this when we haven't time to meditate. It doesn't matter. I know what you're talking about. You know, do we need to meditate before this? It helps. But there are many times you're in a situation where you cannot. Right? Especially a scene of an accident, a confrontation between two people. By the time I get through, they probably have torn one another's throat. So I feel that by doing the quickie, you're able to accomplish it in a second or 3 seconds or 5 seconds. So it reestablishes the rapport, the energies. The molecules of that person is realigned.
Definitely is an electrical energy.
It is. Because we talk about energy, we talk about thought forms, we don't realize how powerful it is, and you have that tool to use it. Like if I had before I go to a meeting or in school, I program myself. I don't know who's coming, but anyway, I establish a rapport between myself and those who come. And there are no confrontation. And if there's someone who is whose adverse opinion may create something, I look upon it as a very healthy type of thing, because you have to feel that there are people who have certain ideals that needs to be answered. I do.
Are you preparing more another kahuna to follow in your footsteps?
I think all of you are kahunas to be. No,
I
no,
wondered if that was what you felt.
No.
Of all of us.
no. I think the title kahunas. I've been questioned that often, but I don't think it's a thing we need to go into, because we kind of segregating ourselves from the whole. That we say, well, I'm a teacher, and well, we're all teachers, because I think I'm learning a lot from being exposed to all of you than I am in giving you. And that's the way I look at it. You're feeding me more than I am giving you. So shall we call it the exchange is fair? But when we change from that level and say, well, I'm a teacher and you're a student, now that changes the whole concept. Okay?